Hi guys, welcome back to session 52 of Java Full Stack Made Easy. Previous session we spoke about data binding, where we talked about one-way data binding and two-way data binding. So here in this session we will be talking about style binding and ngStyle. So let's go ahead and understand that concept. But before going directly to style binding, let's write one more example regarding the two-way data binding. And if you remember, while adding two-way data binding, I included a forms module. This forms module is necessary if I want to make use of the ng model, which is used for two-way data binding. And if you remember, I told you to make use of the banana in a box concept to implement ng model. So let me just close up this app.module.typescript as for now, because I would not be needing that. Now, the next example will focus on just adding two numbers using two-way data binding. So let me just clean up everything that I have written in an HTML page and add up the things that would be required for me. So in my case, I would require a input type is equal to text and ng model. So what I'm gonna do is I will create two numbers in my TypeScript, which would be num1 and num2. So let's just create two text boxes, num1 and num2, and use two-way data binding for both of them. And then there will be a button that will do a sum. Okay, so let's sum up these things, and let's also give the caption for this button. Let's call it as sum itself. So this will create two input boxes on my HTML template and also a button, and on click of that button it goes to the sum function. And yes, in my TypeScript, so I need to have a sum function first that actually adds up the num1 and num2. So I need a num1 variable, which as for now will be 0. Similarly, num2 will initially be 0 itself, and then there will be sum, which will again be 0. And what I'm gonna do is, yeah, so there is some variable here and there is a sum function. Now what I'm gonna do is, on upon click of the button, the sum function is getting executed, right? So when the sum function is executed, I just want to add up the two numbers, which is as simple as this dot somewhere will be equal to num1 plus num2. Fine, that's it. And also I'd like to place that sum somewhere here below. So we can always increase the look and feel of our HTML by implementing CSS and other stuff into our code. Fine, so as for now our focus is completely on the concepts of Angular, not on the look and feel. So once we move ahead in our later sessions, we will also be enhancing the look and feel of our application. So once again, let's just hit ng serve -o, that will open up our application in the browser. So both the files are saved, the app.typescript, app.html. I'm expecting it to display me two text boxes. Yes, the two text boxes are displayed. Sum as for now is 0. So what I'm gonna do is I will just say 18 and then 12. Fine, so I have given two values. Then when I click on sum, so the 0 should actually add up these two values. So now you can see that when I add up 18 and 12, it's not adding me 18 and 12, it's actually giving me the concatenated result of 18 and 12. So that's obviously because of what I have taken a input type as text, so it is considering this num1 and num2 as text, right? So because I have not given any value here. Fine, so let me just try and give the type of these variables here. Fine, so instead of just leaving it as without providing any type, so let me now give it as number and then understand what it is going to give me. Fine, so let's reload this. Once again I'm gonna say 12 and 18, and I now click on sum. Once again it is showing me 12 and 18, although I have given it as number. Fine, it's still giving me the same result itself, right? So that means it is actually concatenating these two values. So now what I'll do is I'll say that this somewhere is also a number. Fine, so now let's see whether that somewhere can actually store the values or not. Fine, So let's give 13 and 13 again. So when I click on this, I still get what 13 and 13, which is actually the result of concatenation. Now what I will do is I'll try to convert this into a integer value. So this function parseInt, we have already seen it into JavaScript as well, that converts the current value into a integer one. So let's do a parseInt for both these values. Fine. So this dot num1, let's check. Yeah, that's the parameter of type string, argument of type number. Okay, that's actually number itself, so we're not required to do use this, right? So let me now remove this number from here. As for now, let it consider it as int. Fine. Okay, so num1 and num2 both are, yeah, let me now give it a string because it is not understanding that, but later I will change that to something else. So as for now, the 0 should be given like this. So let's save it, and now it's fine. Let's now check and understand whether it gives us the proper result or not. So now it is giving us the expected result by doing what? By actually marking this as string. But that's not the way how we do it, right? So I want this number and this to be an integer value itself, right? So because this variables might be used somewhere else, right? So it is possible that without parseInt I want to do it, or maybe these variables are used for some other calculations or something, right? So in that case, what needs to be done? Like how will I be creating this number one and number two? What I want is I want them to be integer itself, that is num1 equals to 0 and the num2 equals to 0. I don't want to mark them as string. Fine. So I just want to explicitly mark them as number because I want to make sure that they are numbers, not the strings. Fine. So but there was a problem that it was concatenating if I don't give parseInt. Obviously parseInt will not be accepted now. That is because this dot number is already a number, and it's not a string. ParseInt expects a parameter to be a string. So what needs to be done? Now come here and change this to a number, that is the type of the text box. I'm directly now changing it to number. Now let's save it, and then I'll go and say 22 and 13. Then I click on sum. Now you see that it is not concatenating the values, it is directly adding up the values. So the conclusion is that whenever you're taking a number type of value from the user, so rather than giving it as a text type, that is input type is equal to text, give it as input type is equal to number, so that your Angular automatically understands that that value is actually a number, not a text. Text means a string. Fine. So let me just put this example into the repository. So this is our session 52, so that means this should be day 52. Fine. So demo 1 number, input type number, right? So or else let's call it as number box. Fine. So this is my TypeScript. In the previous example, I took it as string explicitly and then converted it into parseInt. So when I take it as string, let me also give you that so that you can uncomment this and check it out with the previous result as well. So it was parseInt before when it was string. Fine. So you can also like uncomment these things and test it in your application. This is my TypeScript, app.typescript, and then app.html, app.html. Now in the HTML also I'm gonna add the comments like in the previous example. What I did was I actually had this, and then the type mentioned here was text, not a number. So whenever you are expecting a number to be entered by the user, so it is always better to give the input type itself as number rather than giving it as text, because if you give it as text, you haven't already understood that if we give it as text, then concatenation will happen, calculations might not happen properly. so any manipulation on the a number will not happen. Fine. So now moving ahead, so as discussed when I was starting my session, we will talk about the concept of binding, style binding. So let us understand what exactly is style binding, and let's see how do we implement it. So for that, once again, I'm going to clean up everything that's written in HTML and also everything that's written in a TypeScript file. Fine. So once again, I have a clean uh, code. Now, what I want is I will create some maybe a paragraph or something on my HTML. So that is, let's say, let's create a paragraph here. And while creating a paragraph, I'll just say this is a pink or any color pink p tag. Fine. So this is a pink paragraph or a p tag or whatever. So I want to color this up. In CSS, we have learned that we give things like this, right? So if you remember CSS, where we were talking about the inline styling, right? So let's give a background color, and let's give it as pink. Fine. So this is what we used to do before, right? So and that will actually make our paragraph tag uh, pink colored paragraph, right? So similarly, what I actually want is I want to bind this particular style. That is, this color should actually come up from a variable's value inside the TypeScript. That's what is style binding. That is what is style binding, right? So like we have binded the data, we can also bind the style. So let's create a variable. Let's call it as paragraph color p color equals to any color of our choice, maybe a blue color. Fine. Let's save it. And what I want is I want another paragraph or maybe a div tag or anything. So here I take a paragraph tag and the background color. Now what I'm gonna do is the background color is not gonna be pink. The background color actually has to be the variable that I'm actually providing in my TypeScript. Fine. So for that, what needs to be done? If you remember in data binding, I use this square brackets to bind the properties, right? So similar to property binding, I'm here also using the for style binding also I'm using the square brackets. Now when we do that, now what I have to do is I have to simply tell which variable has to be bind here. So this is the syntax. You give any style that you want to bind, and then you give the variable, that is p color was the variable that I wanted to bind there, right? So paragraph style equals to background. So instead of giving it as background hyphen color, so what we are gonna do is we'll just be calling it as style dot background dot color. So that's how we use the style binding. Now that it is p color, let's save it, and also the TypeScript file is saved. Now let's go ahead and see whether it is colored in blue or not. So you can see that the paragraph is actually colored in blue color, right? So that's how we can perform style binding. So obviously if the value of the variable gets changed, once again uh, your styles can be changed. So that means styles can be changed dynamically as well. So first let me just share this example with you. After that we will try and create style that changes dynamically. So let me first share this example with you. So it's pretty simple and straightforward example where I have a variable created in a TypeScript file, and that variable is actually bind to a template. Fine. So let's call it as demo2 style binding. Okay. So that's my TypeScript. And mainly in this TypeScript, there is only just one line, that is p color equals to blue app dot TypeScript. As I always remind you that you do not copy paste everything that I am writing in a TypeScript file. You can copy paste everything written in an app.html, but do not copy and paste everything written into the TypeScript file, because there might be changes in the class names or the component name or anything that might not work out. Fine. So this is my style binding example. So very simple, easiest demo for style binding. Let's enhance this same example, and what we are gonna do is we will check what we will do is based on a variable's value we will try and change the colors. Fine. So let's say what I have is I will take few more variables in the TypeScript. What I'm gonna do is let's say I'm gonna take age or something as a variable, and upon the age entered by the user, I will get the status of the employee maybe, or any candidate or something. So I want to tell whether the employee is eligible or not based on the age entered by the user. So there will be a variable age that will actually be entered by the user. So by default it is given as 0 as for now, and then there will be a status for that particular employee, which as of now is empty. I actually want to set this status as either eligible or not eligible depending upon the uh, age entered by the user. So once again, paragraph color is also not defined as for now. So now what I'm gonna do is there will be a button in the HTML and there will be a text box, and let me create that for you. So there will be obviously a button. Upon click of this button, so let's say uh, check status. Okay, so upon click of this button, so let's generate the click event for this. Upon click of this particular button, what will happen is it will go and do a check status. So we need to create a check status function here. Alright, so there is a button and that does a check status, and when it comes to this, it has to check the age, and if the age is let's say greater than 18 and less than 15, less than 50 or something, the candidate is eligible or the candidate is not eligible. Similarly, now let's allow the user to enter the age. For user to enter the age, let us provide in input type is equal to, now that the age is what, age is a numeric value, so let's give it as number rather than giving it as a text. Once again, now the age variable has to be bind here. So instead of providing one-way data binding, let's provide in the two-way data binding, so that the value from TypeScript reflects to HTML and any changes on HTML reflects to TypeScript as well. So let's write a banana in a box and then ng model. So ng model will be equal to the variable age that we have created on the TypeScript page. So this is done. Now we have provided a user to enter the age, and then there is a button, and upon click of that particular button the value is being displayed. And then let's just write a paragraph, and depending upon the status, we will say you are either selected or rejected, that is you're eligible or not eligible. So that way I'm going to add up on HTML, and then the same thing, let's just save this as well. And now in the check status, let's put up the condition based on what criteria we are going to either select or say that the candidate is eligible or not. Fine. So for that, what I'm going to do is I'll just be checking it on the age. So which says if age is greater than or let's say equal to 18 and age is less than equal to let's say 50, in that case the candidate should be eligible. So I'll say status in this case will be, let's say, eligible, and yeah, the color has to be changed based on that, right? So I want the paragraph, if the candidate is selected, the paragraph should be displayed, the message should be displayed in green color, right? So I'll do that. In an else case, I want that status to be not eligible, and so in an else case status should be not eligible, and the color should be red. So now what we are doing is we are performing a conditional formatting is what we are doing, right? So here is my paragraph that's being displayed, you are, and as for now nothing is displayed, whether you are eligible or you are not eligible, nothing is displayed as for now. So I give a valid age of the user, so 19, then I click on check status, so it says you are eligible, but still there is one more problem, that is your eligible is not displayed in green color. That's because I did not perform the style binding yet, right? So let's go here, and on an HTML, so we have not yet performed a style binding. So for style binding, like I told you in the previous example, we have to put a square brackets, then style dot background dot color equals 2. So what are we binding here? We are binding the paragraph color variable. So let's save it, and there we go. Let's do a check status. Fine. So yeah, style dot background hyphen color. It's p color eligible, not eligible, that's fine. So this dot p color green, that looks good. So let's check it now. So we are binding paragraph color here, which is style dot background dot color, looks good. So it says you are eligible, but this you are eligible should actually be displayed into green color. So let me check what's happening here. So now let me bind the variable that is p color. Okay, so just to check whether the paragraph color is being changed or not. So it is green, and when I put it as 1, so it is a red, that's fine. So looks good. Let's now also see why is this not being displayed directly to me in a green or a red color. Maybe that is because the paragraph is already added here. So what I'll do is I'll just put it into, yeah, one more thing is that see, when I'm not giving any value, that is when it is loaded, it still says you are, right? So I don't want this you are eligible or you are not eligible to be displayed here until and unless somebody performs a check status, right? So what I'm gonna do for that is that I will just be including ngIf for that, which actually is the Angular directive that places the component only upon the condition is true. So let's do a ngIf, and I'm checking if at all the status is given, then only that paragraph needs to be placed. So now that paragraph is gone, so let's put up 19 and check the status. It says green, but it's not eligible still. So let me now check what is the problem with the background stuff and all. So let's put a paragraph directly, and not an ng style. Style directly first, try and give some variable a value. Let's say this p color uh, test clr equals to red, and I'm trying to bind that test clr so that I check whether the style binding is happening or not. So you are test clr, so there is some problem here itself in the style binding. So it is style dot background dot color. Oh, sorry. So the problem is here, right? So I have to give it like this, and also say background hyphen color. Yeah, that's fine. So the problem was here, style dot background hyphen color, and the square brackets should end here itself. So let's just save it, and now it has to be styled in that way. So let's just remove this, and now let's put 19. So when the candidate is eligible, it comes up into the green color, and if the candidate is not eligible, it comes up into red color. So that way we can perform conditional formatting as well. Fine, because this is possible because of the concept of style binding. And this ngIf, why is this used now? So if you see that uh, when the page is open, it is showing me you are, so this particular component is directly placed on my page. So I don't want this to be placed until and unless somebody enters the age and checks the status, right? This message should not be displayed. So that is what that is why I'm adding a ngIf status. Okay, so it can be ngIf status means what? If the status contains a value, then only add that. If it is empty, or if it is something else, that if it is empty, it will not show up that value. That can be ngIf equal to let's say x equal to true, or it can be ngIf x is equal to 10 can be written. Or ngIf is powerful enough to understand that if I am writing it as status, so it says that status should contain something. If the status is empty, then it is not going to place it. If status contains something, it is going to place that particular paragraph. So let me share this example also with you. So in this case, we are performing conditional formatting. This is again style binding. So demo 3, style binding, conditional formatting. So this is my app.typescript, and the below one should be app.html. All right. Fine. So now that we have performed the concept of style binding, let's now you make use of something called as the ngStyle in Angular. So in my both the example that I have shown you, I have actually used just one single formatting, that is background color. So what if I have more colors or more things to be defined? So let us understand how are we going to do that. Fine. So let's go back to our code and once again clean up everything that's written here, and also the variables and everything that's written here. Fine. So now what I want is I want to have a paragraph again. It can be a paragraph, it can be a div tag, it can be any control. So I want to have a paragraph color again. P color equals to some color I want to give. Let's say green is something which I want to give, and then I also want to change the color of the text. So let's have a text color equals to some color, maybe black or maybe white or pink or anything. Let's say yellow color. So let's save it, and now let's go to the HTML and see how are we going to perform this style binding, where I would actually like to give the background color as well as the text style. Fine. So let's see how can we give that. Fine. So the first example that I showed you was like this, right? Style dot background hyphen color, right? So this is what we used to give before, and then paragraph color is something which I wanted p color. And similarly now I also want to give the color, so I have to perform a style binding again. Style dot color is the property equals to, so text color is the variable that I have taken, and then the paragraph. So whatever I want to write here, let's say this is just a test. Fine. So let's save it, and let's go and see whether the style binding has happened or not. So you can see that the background color is green and the text color is yellow. So when we have this multiple properties to be implemented, we are giving it like this. Fine. So now whenever I have multiple values to be given, that is multiple properties to be bind, so it will be kind of what you say, it will be an headache for us to do this. Why is that? That is because we cannot keep writing style dot background hyphen color, style dot color, or maybe style dot font hyphen size, then font maybe face and all that. So it will be difficult for us to write all the property by using style dot style dot style dot, right? So instead, when you have multiple properties, what Angular says that instead of using normal style binding, you go for an ngStyle. So let's see how the same thing can be done using an ngStyle. So whenever we have multiple properties, so what you do is you use ngStyle. Fine. And then you say equal to, and then you write the properties that you want. In general, without style binding, what we do is we write it as a paragraph, and then we used to do this in Angular. If you remember, style equals to background color, any color we used to give. Let's say I'm giving this background color as aqua, and then color on aqua, let's say we will add a pink or something. Fine, so this is what we used to do. Test again. Now you can see that test again with aqua color and a pink color. So that's what we used to do in HTML, normal HTML style dot background, and then we used to keep giving the properties that we have, right? So similarly in the style binding also we can do the same thing that we have done before. So let's see how do we do that. So let me just copy this, the above written thing, then put it here. Fine. So aqua color is something that I want, so color will be given like this, and then pink color for the same. So let's give it like this. Testing ng style. Okay, let's save it. Okay, this, yeah, ng style background. Looks good. Yeah, so the properties should also be enclosed into single quotes. That takes a key value pair basically. So the keys and the values both needs to be taken up like this. Let's save it, and now see, cannot contain chained expression. Now all right. Oh, one more problem is that uh, instead of giving semicolon in the HTML we used to give semicolon. Here every single property will be separated by using a comma. So you can see that the same style is taken here. Now what I will do, instead of giving it as aqua and all, so if we simply without writing it in a single quote, if we simply write it as like what, the paragraph color, it will take up that paragraph color. And if we want to give the text color, we can simply give the variable text color instead of giving it into single quote. So it will automatically understand that it is a variable that has to be bound, not the value. So you can see that ng testing ng style is similar to what I have done above. Fine. So if you write it in single quote, it understands that it's a value that you are giving. If you don't write it in the single quote, it understands that it is a variable that actually that you actually want to bind. So that way we can mainly use this ng uh, style. Fine. So hope this concept is clear to you, and I would like you to create kind of you can say this would be an assignment or something. So what you guys do is you guys create a page like this. Fine. And on this page you create two buttons here. Okay, a button with the plus icon, because creating an icon and everything is an HTML stuff, and a button with a minus icon. So there should be a paragraph here. Okay, uh, let's say this is my text, and upon click of this plus, the size of this my text should be increased, and upon click of minus, the size of this text should be decreased. So that's what I want. So this can be done using style binding. So if you keep hitting plus, the size of this should be increased. Fine. So that should be plus 5, and upon click of minus, minus 5 should happen, so that like it gives you a feature like zoom in and zoom out, or maybe increasing the text size and decreasing the text size dynamically. So you can try that in your machine. So before that, let me just give you this example into the repository as well. So whenever you have more than one styles to be bind, use ng style demo for ng style rather than just using simple style binding. Reason for that is ng style makes it pretty much easy for you to when you have more than one property to be bind. So let's call it as app.html, and then app.typescript. So hope you are enjoying this series, and also practicing along with the series. And if there is any error or anything that you encounter, in my case, I'm always using the same stuff. That means the same Angular project I'm using for all the demonstrations. But what I want is, I want you to actually go for a different Angular project, so that you also learn that ng new the Angular project name, no standalone concept, then ngserve and all that, and then also you navigate through the files and everything. So with the time you understand those things fine. So in the next session we will be talking about the concept of templates and the other Angular directives, structural directive like ng. If we have used, we will also be looking at how ng for works, and the templating concept works in Angular. Fine. So if you like in the series, please share it with your friends, and do comment on the videos for a better reach. See you in the next video.